This episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast is brought to you by pmtlifestyle.com, authentic Muay Thai lifestyle by Pu'u. Definitely go check out the website at pmtlifestyle.com for some awesome lifestyle merchandise. That's for those of you out there either involved in Muay Thai, looking at getting involved in Muay Thai, and embrace a healthier lifestyle to live the life of a Nak Muay. Go check it out. If you're tuning in on Instagram, if you're tuning in on TikTok, we're here live with Thiago Azerado from Sitan Gym in Arizona. Yeah, if you guys don't know who Thiago is, he's been around Muay Thai game, martial arts a long time. We're just talking. You've had your academy there in Arizona for 19 years?
19 years.
19
long time.
So what year was that when you guys started?
Oh, whatever 19 years was from today. It's almost 20 now. Shoot, I was like still in college, and then I started teaching Muay Thai while I was in college, and it's funny, I had a chain of ice cream trucks too. I had a little ice cream truck.
What? Dude, yeah, ice cream truck business?
Right, ice cream truck, man. It's in Arizona. It's all year round business.
Man, so, that really makes sense actually for you guys' the area and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's good monies, and you'd be surprised what they make. This is really great business. I actually never really worked for anybody while I was out here. And I always had my own business one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a little ice cream truck business, and I started, teaching Muay Thai out of a fitness gym. And then my coach basically was like, Aziz was like, yeah, if you want to use the name Sitan, like he kind of allowed me to use it, which was a huge honor to me. And so I did a Arizona version of Sitan Gym, and the rest is history. Sold my ice cream truck business, and I got my storefront. I used that money. Basically, I used my college loan money to start the ice cream truck business because I had a full ride, and I had a plenty of loan money to use. It was great interest rate, so I was like, let's see how this goes. And it was really good business. It was good money, good business, So learned a lot about inventory and just like basic business stuff, and did well. And then sold it and started the gym.
Man, that just shows the entrepreneurial mindset for you. Kind of always been there, huh?
Oh yeah, since I was little. Yeah, for sure.
So,
so now, I came back from a major tournament representing the U.S. team in Malaysia, and our team was so poorly funded, so poorly represented. I was embarrassed that we didn't even have a decent uniform. The president of the federation left 2 days before the tournament was even over by myself with the whole team.
Shit.
And I was so upset that I was like, this has got to be changed. And I started a tournament to help that. And that's how the US Open came to be, is that we started we started just, to help the Muay Thai community grow internationally, to help them get more of a presence. And so now it's grown substantially since then.
Yes.
And, now, our goal is to basically create an international competition or, tournament where it's all inclusive. So I want to bring the world to the U.S. We started with Siam Fight Productions, which was a youth-based...
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a youth-based Muay Thai show. And we did actually get about 20... I think we counted 28 countries that were represented in that show, in the lifetime of that show. And we ended our last show with the first pro Muay Thai show in Arizona in like 30 years.
That's awesome, man.
So we were able to kind of break that barrier and have a pro show. It was extremely expensive. I understand why they don't do it. It was very difficult to do. But since then, been working with Bob with the USMTA and I think WBC now. I don't know. I think he's both.
Yeah.
And so, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
And he's been working, to get our tournament to be a legit open tournament, which is now it is.
Yeah.
So now you have all the divisions represented. You have amateurs, and now we have pro division, which is really exciting. We actually have a couple registrants already.
Awesome. And this is kind of like why we connected. Where like a lot of people were asking about this new pro division. Like, what is it? What are the rules? And for me, I'm excited to see it too. I've seen your tournament as a coach, as an official, and as a spectator before. So it's really cool to see you guys grow. And I've seen you guys, like you had the giant for those that don't know, you had those giant 18-wheel trucks that you trucked across country to freaking New York.
We went to New York twice and we got crushed in New York. It was rough. We did. I enjoyed, actually, I'm really proud of the tournament we put on in New York.
It was well done.
But it was brutal. New York is very difficult as far as sanctioning and things like that. They have a lot of red tape that costs us a lot. I don't know. We might go back there. But I'm pretty confident we won't. I'm probably gonna be in the outskirts of New York if we ever go back there. We do get a lot of people asking to come to different states. We've gotten Hawaii multiple times because people just want to take a vacation to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And Richard Mango Tree was like, "Yeah, come on down.
Let's do it." Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are, basically want us to go to their state, and we are mobile. We are able to do that. It's just a matter of, does it make sense for us to go, and how's the sanctioning body look there? So it will literally allow us to do the rule set that now we want, which is in the pro and an amateur division.
Yes. So let's get into that, man. Like, seeing like I like how you really had the entrepreneurial mindset through your whole adult life, man. I heard this pro division announcement. I was sitting ringside. I heard it. I was like, wait, what? I was like, wow, is this happening? Because he told me, he mentioned something, and I didn't hear anything about it. And then there was an announcement. I'm like, oh shit, stuff must have gotten
really happening. It's really happening. It is happening. It's been approved thanks to Bob and with the USMTA, and we're really excited about it. Like, very excited. This is a really historic event. The hurdles I see. Well, let's get into what it's going to really look like. Right?
Okay.
So the tournament's going to look. It's going to be a pro division, but it's going to be the same rules as amateur. Unfortunately, that's how I got it approved. I would love to see a pro division with no gear, but the commission wouldn't go for it.
No, that's kind of like where you start going into their territory for the state.
Yeah. So, but again, it's competition, it's experience, and for a pro that wants to stay busy, you're relatively coming out of there unscathed, right? Relatively speaking, you fight a pro fight, whether it be 3 3s or 5 3s, win or lose, man, you're beat up for at least a week. Your body's not able to go through the for a couple days, and so instead we have it padded, and so that way the pros can continue fighting in whatever contracted organization they're in, but still get the fight experience they need. Because what happens with pros in the States is they're just not fighting enough to compete internationally, to compete with international competition. So like these guys in Russia and Europe, they fight whether it's pro or amateur. They fight pro one day because they're getting paid, and then the next day they're fighting amateur just for the experience,
just to keep the feet wet.
They just keep racking up fights, and that's how Kazakhstan and Russia and Uzbek and all these countries, Ukraine, have so many fights because they're constantly in competition. And there is no red tape about, oh, that's a pro, that's an amateur. It's like, no, like, you want to fight a pro fight, go for it.
Yeah, do it.
Like, but and some of these guys are good enough to get paid, and then they'll jump in an amateur, and basically the way they're matched up is how many fights you have, despite a pro or amateur.
Mm.
So if you have, 50 fights, 10 pro and they don't look at the 10 pro and
it's just how many fights do you have?
How many fights you have. And I like that. That's a more accurate metric to how
100%.
you really are. There are some amateurs in the States that are so good and they have a ton of amateur fights, but they don't want to go pro because they don't want to be limited. They don't want to have to stop fighting.
Yep.
They want to create an environment where they don't have to. They can continue fighting. They can continue get experience at the USMTO and not worry about, oh man, if I turn pro, now I'm going to only fight twice a year, 3 times a year. If you're really lucky, 3 times a year as a pro is a lot.
Yeah.
And so, where amateurs can fight 10 times a year, like comfortably. Amateurs can fight quite a bit if you take all the tournaments and all the shows that are amateurs out here. So that's kind of what I want. And so that's what it's going to look like. The other thing is that we want it to be a legit pro division, which means you can't debut as a pro on our tournament. So if it's your first pro fight, so the reason why we're doing this is Joe Schmo that, is 40-0 in the streets. He's going to come to my tournament and go, I'm a pro, man. I did bum fights and I did all this. I'm like, no, you're not. You need to do a pro fight. It happens though. I mean, the only thing I'm saying is because I see it. Some guy that's self-trained in his garage through YouTube comes in and fights in the open division, and we're like, oh man,
this is bad. Yeah.
And sometimes I'll walk over to the doctor and be like, all right, like, hey, keep an eye on this one. Like, I'll talk to a ref and be like, yeah, this is going to, usually the refs at our tournament, kind of can see a mismatch. And so they'll keep a close eye. It's pretty big giveaways to people that just, the independently trained.
You see at the weigh-ins, man.
Yeah, I'm like, oh God, like they don't know what's going on. What's the rules? What's this? And anyway, we want to avoid those people at the pro division because that is a dangerous jump from not having fights to fighting against pros. And so you have to at least have one pro fight, whether it be MMA, whether it be boxing, whether it be Muay Thai. It'd have to be like a sanctioned pro fight. And once you have a sanctioned pro fight, then you are allowed in this division to compete. And so at the moment, there are no prize, like there's no like prize.
No grand prize, yeah.
Not yet. But we are looking at some sponsors that are there. So technically for this tournament to happen, I wanted to do a grand prize for the record.
Yes.
I wanted to do a grand prize, for sizable amount of money for the division so that at least like somebody's walking away with something, right? And it didn't entice it. But the commission said no, unfortunately. But they did say that sponsors can give a prize, stipend or whatever that may be. So we're working on that to see if sponsors are willing to maybe give a travel stipend to a specific show or a fight contract. I know that Dimitri with Muay Thai Addict wants to do something where they will be he has his own show in Europe that's going on.
I saw that.
And so he's pretty interested in partnering up and signing anybody that competes that wins the tournament to his show. And that's obviously an expense paid trip to wherever European country and get fight experience on a big name show. And we're doing that. And we're going to try to replicate that with different organizations. So I talked to Rami and other scouts. I'm going to be basically inviting all the pro shows, pro promoters out to scout. And we'll be basically trying to get all these pro athletes.
Yeah.
As much as I can. So whatever they're willing to give to these athletes that are up and coming.
Can I ask you something, Thiago?
Yeah.
For the pros that are fighting, so you say one sanctioned pro fight. So right now, the way you have it is for your amateurs, C, B, and A class. Do you know if at any point are any of the A class athletes allowed to test their knowledge in the pro division?
They have to fight a pro fight.
They have to fight the pro fight. Okay.
Yeah, so we can't move them up to. I know that there's other tournaments that do A class and pro.
Open. Yeah.
And I've seen some massive mismatches.
Yeah.
And that's, like I wouldn't put my amateur against a pro that's seasoned.
Yeah.
Once you're pro, you're pro. You should be 100% at everything. 100% clinch, 100% boxing. You should have that skill set, and now it's a matter of putting it to the test against any other pro.
Yeah.
Once you're pro, you're pretty much open season.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not. So, you're still growing, you're still learning, and you're still building your experience level. And so that's kind of our idea with that. And so, once you're ready to dip your toe into pro, have a pro fight, have a pro sanction fight. Once you do that, and again, it could be anything. It could be boxing,
MMA, kickboxing,
boxing, or Muay Thai. Once you can show that you've had a pro fight, you kind of know what that entails, and then you can compete in this tournament. And there's a lot of people in the US that have turned pro that probably shouldn't have turned pro.
Yes, and this will allow them to remain active and get some more experience, right?
And they're stuck now because they're amateurs that have a pro record. Now they're stuck with that pro record. They can't really compete.
Yeah.
So this will be a perfect avenue for them to get experience, especially like maybe an MMA fighter that needs experience with their strike.
Or that wants to get into Muay Thai, or for that stuff too.
Right. So it will help them kind of build that skill set for them. Like, okay, I'm going to fight against other pro Muay Thai fighters, and get that experience, and then possibly some fight contracts. If you're exciting enough, we will have promoters there, pro promoters on site, and hopefully some contracts in hand for people that are willing to come out, and do well. So
it's a really exciting thing. And I think it's an amazing opportunity. I've met multiple people that fit that bill. They're like a pro MMA fighter that wanted to do Muay Thai, and you're like, oh, can I do this tournament? No, like you can't, and you shouldn't be fighting pro Muay Thai. So it's good. They have the shin guard, elbow pads.
Yeah, they'll have the shin guards and elbow pads and headgear. And I know pros are just gonna be like, oh, you're gonna hear the grumbles, but again, you'll be able to compete right away in other venues. Like it's still gonna be amateur, but you'll be able to compete in 2 weeks later. And it's good to get some fights under your belt just to get that experience. Whether it be 1 or 2 fights, it's always better than none. And being active as a fighter is important, whether it's pro or amateur. It does move the needle a little bit, when you haven't been in the ring for a while, and then suddenly you're thrown in with somebody that's been fighting, and been active. It kind of like they're already in that game. They're already in that mindset. So they remember that feeling of being in the ring, whereas you get that ring rust, you get that kind of shock when it's been like a long time. There's a lot of athletes that have gone through COVID and, were inactive for a while. And then jumping back in is kind of tough, So.
Yeah, and it's really with those people who are kind of that in between also. And before it was like they were having to go to Mexico to get like those like lower level like pro fights, like entry level pro fights, or they go to Thailand, like the smaller stadiums with the more like like C, B class pro fights, nothing that's like top level to get that experience. And now you're making it very accessible for them in our own backyard, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. We need We need more pro fights. There's only, maybe a handful of pro promoters, across the country. Now we're one of them. But there's Dimitri, there's, Freedom, there's Triumphant,
WCK with Dennis Warner.
WCK, I think, has been the most steady
since the 80s, man.
And I give them a lot of credit for that. I've actually never had a problem with WCK ever. So they stay steady and true. The Warriors Cup. There's that's, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
There's some up and coming new one, World the World Cup or something like that. I think it's based out of Canada and they want to do shows here, but that's pretty much it. That's it for promotions.
Yeah, and then and if you're not in on those and you don't have that connection to get into there and you don't have the experience, you're not getting on.
Usually, and what happens in most shows, and this is why I like tournaments, is there's some bias, right? There's there's the fighter that they like to protect. There's I'm not saying that all shows, but let's be honest. If you look at any show, you can tell who they're protecting, right?
Oh yeah.
And there's some bias, and there's some, okay, this show, this is the guy that he sells a lot of tickets for me. I kind of want to keep him active and keep him winning. And maybe that's where I failed on Siam, because I didn't protect not even my own guys. I put
you're fighting this person.
I wanted exciting fights, and I wanted fights that I wanted to watch. That's how I put the show. I didn't care about my partners lost their minds with me because they're like, oh dude, what the hell? And I'm like, I'm a real fighter that wants to fight tough competition.
Yeah.
We fly people out that were really tough, and sometimes we win and sometimes we lose. And there are the coaches that are like, oh, you pit us to fail. I'm like, no, I put you with a really good fighter because I thought you would put up a good fight and you might, you would win or lose, but I didn't know who would win.
Yeah.
Usually the fights that I put on is the ones that I'd be like, man, I could not tell you who would win that fight. I could not tell you who's going to, man, it could go either way, but I'll tell you, this is going to be an exciting fight. You're going to want to watch it. And that's how I used to match make. And I would even put on fights that sold no tickets because I was just so excited about. We had a fight, one Korean kid against one kid from Portugal. They both flew in. They sold nothing worth of tickets. And it was an absolute war. It was a war for 5 rounds. And it was a split decision to the Korean. The Korean gave the Portugal kid an 8 count in the first, and then an 8 count in the second. And then he got tired. And the Portuguese started coming back in the third and fourth. They almost 8 counted him in the fifth. And it ended up being a split decision. It was a crazy fight. It was wild. And they were teenagers, but there was teenagers with 50 plus fights.
Yeah.
So that was one of the fights that my partners were like, what the hell are you doing, man? You're killing us. And I'm like, yeah, I want to watch this fight. I actually want to see what happens here. So the matchmaking was cool. But when you go to these shows, especially in the pros, they're going to match the local favorite because the favorite sells tickets and pays the bills. You have to understand the economics of promoting to understand why they do that. It's not because it's their friend or whatever, dude. It doesn't. I don't care if their friend. You want to keep a show alive, you have to sell tickets. It's plain. Yeah. Whereas a tournament, I don't really care if you sell tickets because every athlete is paying to compete.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just I press a button. There's a randomizer. It automatically randomly seeds everybody, and I have no say in it.
Yeah. There you go, guys. That's the bracket.
And there is no, my guys sometimes get buys. My guys, sometimes they get the tough fight right off the get. I wanted it that way because I have my own athletes in it and I don't want bias. I think that, it's cool because I think the tournaments are the true measure of a studio, of a gym. You can be the hot shot on one show and maybe another show, not so much. And, because we all know, but a tournament, you don't know who you're fighting. You don't know what you got to put. There's pressure. You're under pressure to win. And you don't know, you have to adapt on the fly. Your athletes have to have a robust skill set to be able to adapt on the fly. It is not as easy as it sounds. They're like, oh, I'm fighting this guy. He's changed. Oh, he's southpaw. You figure it out at the first bell.
Yeah.
You know? And you're like, oh crap, you know, like, and you have to know what, you know, make the adjustments real early.
And you really see the whole team aspect of like the camp and stuff as well, especially with multiple athletes.
Yeah.
You know, in your camp, you see how everybody has to work together, and everybody sees it. And I think it's a really good opportunity for a team to stress test themselves, not only in like
ultimate,
not just for like their fighters, but like the team in general, because you're really seeing your leadership that you built up go out and go play, and then you're the promoter, so you're not doing much. You're kind of like, hey, I'm gonna sit back, you know, and
like
see your team.
The hardest part. Sometimes I will take off the promoter hat and go in the audience and cheer because I trained all those guys. I trained them, and I can't corner them. You know, and I think Bob is in the same boat because he's the sanctioning body that also has a gym, and there's, you know, we kind of have to. That's the you know, that's the rules. You know, like conflict of interest, but. I'm allowed to sit in the stands as a promoter and cheer my guy on because I just don't want to sit inside and have to muzzle myself. So I'll literally sit in the chairs and cheer on my guy because that's all I could do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
For 6 months to 8 months, you know, I'm in there with the pads every day. I'm in there getting punched in the head and clinching with them and moving with them and screaming my head off and losing years of my life with stress. To make them, you know, push them to win, and then I can't be in their corner is kind of tough. So
yeah,
but I don't, you know, I love it because I reality is I do it for them and I do it for the entire state. The more we have athletes and locally and nationally, the better everybody does.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people and they're like, you know, constantly looking, this guy's doing this and this guy, they're competing with each other. But it's like, man, there's plenty to eat for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking. I swear. I don't watch any of my competitors. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea. I don't know what the dates of their tournaments are. I don't know anything. Usually one of my partners is always watching and, you know, he's like, oh, this happened. I'm like, I don't really care. That's out of my purview.
So what are we doing this week, right?
Yeah, what are we doing? I don't care what they're doing. Like, let them watch us. Let them watch us, you know, because I think watching your competition puts you on a defensive.
Yes.
You know, like you're constantly doing things in reaction to what I don't care about what they're doing.
Definitely. And I see it prevents innovation, stuff like that too.
Yeah.
You're starting to think like them.
Yeah, I don't want to think
yourself.
Anybody. And so that, you know, and especially, you know, I'm the driving force of the direction of what our tournament's going. So I don't watch it. I don't watch it. I don't watch what everybody else is doing. And sometimes ignorance is a little bliss. Like I don't need to watch it because I just want to focus on what we're doing. And we're going to be doing some really cool stuff in April. Unfortunately, I can't announce it because it's just driving me nuts. I would love to announce it.
Oh, come on! He's been, just so everybody knows too.
Well, it's going to be an introduction of another sport.
Yeah,
and it's not what you think. It's definitely not jiu-jitsu.
I'm just gonna call a prediction and say tennis.
Tennis.
That's all I'm gonna say. There's a national tennis tournament. That's the same time. They're staying at the event hotel. I'm not stupid, Thiago. I see it. Okay. They're from all over the world too.
We're looking at multiple sports, and one of them is similar to tennis, but we're not doing that.
Badminton.
But there is a sport, and it's an unlikely sport, but we're very, very excited. And I promise you, I'll give you the scoop.
Dude,
I will do the announcement on your podcast.
Oh man, you guys heard it here.
Right? So we'll do the announcement on your podcast, but it's going to be fun. And it's something that, let's say you're at the tournament and you lose on the first day and you're in a big division or whatever. It's something that you're going to be able to jump and register for and compete in while you're at the tournament.
That's pretty cool.
So you'll be able to just jump in, whether even if you're injured, you'll be able to compete in this tournament.
Esports.
So we'll talk about it.
Okay. I'm just gonna start throwing predictions out and just watch your facial expression and see. Yeah, there's so many different things.
There's a lot of things, and I think I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really cool, and it's gonna change the game. I think there's a lot of opportunity here to merge audiences.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of audiences that uh, that have the same kind of interests, and now we're looking to do that. And we have all the equipment. The good thing is that what a lot of people don't know is that we've never taken payment. I've never been paid by my tournament.
Yeah.
We'll always reinvest. I've never taken a draw. And so, and none of my partners have either. We're looking at maybe taking a draw soon, but
can I just, for people that don't understand, what he's saying is they never make money themselves from it. They reinvest into their business. So for anybody that complains or says anything about the registration, stuff like that, just go back and rewind a little bit. That's what he means by never taking a draw on it.
I've never taken payment from our tournament, and it shows in the books. I don't know if it's public or not, but
it's not a nonprofit, so probably not.
No, but we are going to start a nonprofit. We're actually in the process of starting an educational nonprofit. I started a special needs class in my gym.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll shift into that real quick.
Yeah.
Give you more content.
Yeah.
We started I started, my kids have special needs. My oldest is autistic, and and my youngest is on the spectrum as well. And so my oldest, he has sensory issues, and sometimes he really struggles in big groups of kids. And so I started this Muay Thai program where kids that do struggle in those sensory, like they can come in. It's quiet. It's dark. There's nobody at the gym.
Mm.
And I actually certify our coaches to work with special needs.
Awesome.
And after I did that, we were on the news. It was like big hit. And I didn't even realize. I just did it for my son.
Yeah.
And so we started getting a lot of kids with special needs, with autism, with, hearing this, like sometimes they're hard of hearing, or they have ADHD, severe ADHD. So they need specific requirements for them to even absorb any kind of information. So we started that, and after I started it and I posted about it and everything, I got gyms from all over the country asking me, how do I start a special needs program? And I was like, just start it. I don't know what to tell you. But I have, when I look back, I'm like, I have experience with special needs since before my son. I've been working with that behavioral health group for over a decade, well over. And working with kids with special needs, at-risk kids with behavioral issues. So I've had that experience, and those people really want to help, and they just don't know where to go. So I'm partnering with an organization. It's not official yet, but they certify. They do certifications for special needs.
That's great.
And so I want to partner and create a martial arts based certification. So if you're a martial arts school, you can take the certification, and you'll actually there's some organizations that will, like some organization, private and public, that are.
I hope you're enjoying the content today. I just wanted to give a shout out to Onnit for giving us Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great supplement, something I use quite a few times a week just to stay on it with all the different tasks that I have going on in my life. If you're looking at having increased focus, I don't want to say you can say attentiveness, definitely go check out Onnit products. They have total human optimization products, stuff for sleeping, recovery, and other things for increased focus that you can mix into your water, supplementations. They also have protein powders, things of that nature. Very high quality supplement. You know me, I would not be talking about it if I didn't use it myself or truly believe in it. So go check it out. And it is a good way to support the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, it's a great way of giving back. You can also check out our merchandise store at pmtlifestyle.com. The link is all down in the show notes.
that will pay for these kids to train at your facility.
Yeah, as part of like their programs that they have, but you have the certification, correct?
Right. And so you do certification, and then we're going to teach you on how to make the program lucrative, because great, like it's still have to make money. It's still a business.
Yeah.
So these kids with special needs have grants and special, in Arizona that we have called ESA, Empowerment Scholarship. And what they do is they get $1,000 or whatever their allocated monies to get these kids services. And so, sometimes it pays for schooling, sometimes it pays for tutoring, sometimes it pays for anything.
Or martial arts.
Yeah. It has to be from a vendor that is certified. You have to go through it. But there are programs like this in every state. It exists. And so to get certifications, it educates people on how to work with these kids. Like I want a world where I pass away that is more tolerant to people with special needs, with hopefully adults as well. And that are aware of, when they see that, they are aware of what they're looking at. Oh, this guy's just an idiot. This guy's just a retard. But that's that could be my son. Somebody's looking at my son talking like that, and I'm be like, damn, man, this is the fucking world we live in. And so I want to make sure that I do my part to change that.
Positive impact, man, for sure.
Yeah, make a positive impact on the world, where that people will look at someone with autism and go, oh, that's autism. I know what that is. I know how to deal with that person. Or if he's having a tantrum or he's breaking down. I've seen tons of videos where they're laughing at people like this because, oh, it's funny. Look at him. He's just kicking and screaming. It's like, no, that's an adult with autism. Like, I know what that is. I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
It's not really funny. Like, that person's really suffering. And so I want that to be, on the forefront of one of the things I accomplish is getting studios, martial arts schools, one, to teach these people how to defend themselves and protect themselves, because they are severely bullied because they can't really fend for themselves.
Yeah, and they attracts that attention too.
Yeah, they don't know what's going on, and to also have that awareness of like, oh, he's not rude. He's just autistic. He doesn't want to look into your eyes, or he's very uncomfortable. So, but that's his face. And so there's a lot of different ways that it comes out. And I want to bring more awareness to that. And that's just one of the things that I'm going to do with this nonprofit.
That's great, man.
Certifications, we're going to do funding for people that want to compete internationally. We're going to do different scholarship funds for kids at risk. We're going to do curriculums. So like people that want to start a Muay Thai program, we'll put them through a training so that they, like, oh man, I really want to start a Muay Thai program, but I don't know what to do. So we're going to do curriculums. We're going to do different things that actually really help the Muay Thai community grow. And it's going to be all inclusive. There's a lot of communities out there very excluding, and it's going to be all inclusive. It's going to be out there for anybody to use, anybody to take advantage of. And I want the community to grow. When the community grows, everybody makes out well. It's not just for me or just for my gym or for my tournament or for my promotion, but I want all the gyms to do well. And because that's the future of the sport. If we have more competitors, if we have more athletes, we have even more recreational students, people that just want to train, they're fans of the sport, the more it grows. Yeah. And so we're doing a lot of different things. So that nonprofit is going to be up on its feet soon. We're putting in an application.
That's great, man. And is that with, so your partners over at the US Muay Thai Open, are some of them involved in that as well?
Yeah, they are. Yes. And I work together with them. Ryan and Brandon are Ryan was my best friend from high school. We grew up together in a theater. We did a lot of technical theater. That's why we have, he has a lot more prowess than me. We did a lot of technical theater. Brandon was a student of mine a long time ago, and we became very close friends. So these are two of my best friends.
Great people too. I like both of them. Man.
They're very, very good. They're very passionate about the sport. And I trust them with everything. They're there was no way we could have accomplished everything that we accomplished. I couldn't have done it by myself. There's no possible way. I couldn't come close to what we're doing today without those two. And now we have a pretty sizable staff of people that we've onboarded. Cara, as everybody knows, is the person that replaced me. She has a little more tact than I do. But I was that person, and I'm so happy to give Cara the credit she does.
Yeah, she does a lot, man.
Hard. She works really hard.
Yeah,
she does it with a smile, and we're really proud to have her on our team. We have a lot of other people that are on our team, and we're still building our team to be able to put on more events nationally, and so it's been good. Our last tournament, I think we fixed our weigh-in issues. We fixed our scheduling issues. Every day we started on time. We finished on time. We finished early sometimes,
which was amazing. Like that's all those people, those things. Like the weigh-in process, you guys had everything set up.
Yeah,
smooth, man.
It went really well. Very proud of our team for. We got it down, and it was basically we needed more doctors, so we got more doctors, and that was the hiccup. That's where created this funnel of people in line and stuff. So we got enough doctors, so the scheduler worked really well. So if you book your weigh-in, you came in, you weighed in, and you left at the time day. So everything worked flawlessly the way we planned it to work, and so we expect that we wanted that down before April, because April's the big one.
Yeah.
So April's going to be a colossal tournament.
So when is it in April? What's your dates for your 2023 spring tournament?
Yeah, so it's going to be April. Let me tell you actually right now.
Yeah, because for me, I'm planning for next year for our team and stuff like that to be there and everything as well.
Yeah, so April 13th through the 16th. April 13th is going to be the weigh-in. 14, 15, and 16 is going to be the fights.
Competition day.
Yeah, so it'll be weighing on the 13th, and 14 through 16 are going to be fights. It's going to be at the same hotel that we always have it at the Sheridan Crescent, and I think the pricing right now is I don't know what it is. I think it's in the $50, but it's going to start going up in December.
Yeah, and with for this fight, I know you normally you've been playing around with different kind of weight check stuff. So you're doing the initial weigh-in, then are you going to do just like you did this past tournament, weigh-in on the final day?
Yes, so weigh-in on the final day. If we get big enough that we have to do a fourth day of competition, then we're going to have to revisit the weigh-in. Just because we don't know if we want too much time to pass between fights and then have a massive cut at the end.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't do an allowance on our weigh-ins. We want to really discourage weight cuts. Discourage we know that there's going to be weight cuts, but we want to discourage some big weight cuts.
You want to know something funny, Thiago?
Yeah.
On TikTok, we got kicked off our live for hateful behavior.
What?
I know you were joking, man. I wonder if you could see this violation reason. Hateful behavior.
What did we do?
I don't know, man. But I'm just gonna click appeal. Is this?
That's weird.
That's China for you, man.
What the heck?
Yeah, I don't know. They get weird with that stuff sometimes. They're overtly sensitive on there.
Fighting? Maybe,
I don't know.
You think somebody flagged us?
Yeah, I've literally had people getting cut with elbows and stuff on there before, nothing, But it's not to detract from this, but I thought it was hilarious and I had to mention. So going for the tournament, so the 13th through the 16th, weigh-in days on the 13th, and final weight check, no allowance. What do you mean no allowance? It means they have to weigh in within the same weight bracket still, correct?
Yeah, so they have to weigh in within the same weight bracket that they weighed in originally. And we want to make sure that, again, we discourage weight cuts. We don't want people cutting weight.
It's not good, especially those multi-day tournaments, man. It's
not good. So we want to make sure that there's not as much cutting as a lot of times. We've had people before like, oh, we want an allowance, like, don't cut too much weight. We're not going to do an allowance. I want to discourage the fact that you're going to cut massive amounts of weight. More than 8% of your body weight is like a gross amount. Usually if you're going to cut weight, I keep my guys at about 5%.
That makes sense. That's reasonable, right?
Yeah, so 5% weight cut is fine. I just don't want, massive weight cuts. It's just insane, and then what they don't tell you is what happens to the brain when you're cutting that much weight is you actually become more susceptible to concussion. Mm. And, we had one guy one time that he cut so much weight, and then in the finals, he got kneed on the ribs. And if I'm not mistaken, his pancreas exploded because it was so swollen. And
now it's from weight cutting, from stress on weight cut. Yeah,
cut a lot of weight, and he had to be sent to the hospital, and because he got kneed pretty bad, he got knocked out. And after the fight, he was like struggling, and he didn't even want to go to the hospital. We had to like, hey man, you're going to the hospital. We'll call ambulance now. And if they didn't get him in there at the time that they got him there, he would have probably been severely injured. It would have been really bad. Mm. So because of weight cutting. And after that, I was like, well, guess what? We're not doing this anymore. We're not doing allowance. That allowances encourage weight cuts.
Yes.
Hey, we know that you're cutting weight. We're going to make it a little easier for you to cut weight. It's like, no, don't cut weight. Like that's the thing. You're putting yourself at risk by cutting a gross amount of weight, or just move up. If it's so much weight, just move up. You have another option.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that were doing that on they're doing weight transfers and stuff like that. And it's
the weight transfer rather than, putting yourself at risk. People die cutting weight all the time.
Yeah, it's worth the money, whatever it is that if it's a day of, and if you guys charge for it, whatever it is, it's worth it because
it's worth the money. Because and then get out of the situation where you're going to kill yourself fighting to get to the finals, and then you're not going to make the weight. Mm-hmm. Or let's say you make the weight, but you can't fight because you're so severely,
emaciated and just
you can't fight. So you weigh in that morning, you fight that day.
Yeah.
So just like Thailand, you weigh in the morning, you fight that evening.
Yeah, they're not cutting that much as much, So it's crazy too because people don't realize how it affects your joints, like your ankles, your knees, all these different things as well that make you more susceptible to injury too.
It's just not a good policy as an athlete to just be constant.
So for those that don't know, kind of going away from a tournament, so you've been doing triathlons, correct?
Yeah, I stopped this year because I had a pretty bad. I race motorcycles as well. So on the track, I had a spill and went down to like 104 miles an hour.
No big deal.
Yeah, you wear leathers and stuff, but I hurt my knee pretty bad, and it's been recovering. So I've been on and off training because my knee is swells up, but it's better now. So I told myself that I would just take this year off to let it heal, which was a good call. So next year I'll be running again. But yeah, I do a lot of triathlons and stuff like that. Big up to my buddy Tim that has his nonprofit Together We Live, where we push people with disabilities.
I've seen you guys at the running races doing that.
Yeah, they're super. It's super cool organization. If you ever want to donate, it's called Together We Live. Together We
Live. Okay, I'll definitely put it down in the show notes too for this.
Yeah, and they're great organization. I love those guys, and unfortunately this year he's doing a competition where it's all supported athletes, which means everybody's going to be pushed. It's only athletes that are being pushed, and so that's really, really cool because some of these people, they can't move, so They don't really get the feel of what it's like to be an athlete. So this is really cool for them to get that experience. And Tim does that and in the midst of fighting his own battle of he's fighting cancer himself.
Oh shit.
He's a badass dude, man. Tim Bolin with Together We Live. If you ever want to donate to somebody, they're amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I was gonna ask you because I've seen you and Paul McGowan and stuff like that out there at the races pushing.
Paul got me into it. Paul is the guy with Chandler MMA, got me into it, and because that's Paul's best friend.
Oh shit! Okay, then now it's all making sense.
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys get connected with this?
Yeah, we got connected, and he's been my coach ever since. Tim's been my coach, and he actually I have him. He does a free track day here in Phoenix, in Tempe for basically anybody that wants to come in. This is like this and his day. He had like some absurd like 2-hour marathon. Like he's like legit runner. He was like a legit like Olympic hopeful and was a legit athlete, pro triathlete for many years. I respect him a lot as a person as well, but he's a great athlete. So you're getting this free track day with a legit running coach for free. So I make all my athletes that are fighting do their track day.
Good.
And he's actually helping my guys with their cardio and stuff. It's really cool.
That's talk about good collaboration right there.
Yeah, to bring my friends together and stuff. So, but he has that organization, and I do the triathlons and stuff, and I've learned a lot about nutrition and cardio and all that stuff through doing triathlons and stuff.
Yeah, how did you end up getting into that?
I actually always I saw it when I was young. I saw this triathlon tournament, or not tournament, but a race, and I was like, man, that looks really cool. And as a matter of fact, so I've always been a cyclist as a kid. Since I was 13, I've been a cyclist. I would race as a kid, and I trained as an adult. All through my whole life, I was a cyclist. But that's usually how I would do my cardio. Like 50 to 100 mile rides, and so I stopped for a while actually to do this tournament. I stopped training because it was like so intense. This tournament was intense, the USMTO, and so I started again maybe 4 years ago. I've always wanted to do it, and suddenly I was just like, I want to do this. And then Paul was like, yeah, I do this. I do triathlons, and I saw that Paul did. So I did my first little sprint, and it was cool as hell. I was hooked. I was like, this is crazy fun. And I always had this supreme fear of swimming in open water because I almost drowned as a kid. I don't even think my parents know this shit. But sorry, Mom.
Surprise.
But I was on a boat once, and I was swimming to a rock, and I realized that I'm not making it to this rock. So I just sunk. And I don't know, by some miracle, there was a rock under me while I was sinking, and I pushed myself up. And then I swam to that rock, and I just waited for my parents to realize that I was on this lone rock and
you need help.
in the Atlantic. And I was like, help! So they came over. I never told my mom. I was so scared to tell her because she would kill me. But I always had a fear after that of open water. So I was like, how better to get over that fear than to actually race in open water. So
yeah, well, not just doing that, but doing, because you were doing Ironman too, right?
Yeah, I did Ironman and Arizona one, and I did pretty good. I was really proud of myself. Trained 8 months, actually trained a whole year. I went from 0 to doing that first Ironman, and I think I did it in 12 hours and some change, which is pretty good for a first timer. I went from 0 to that, and I had a great time.
Good.
Absolute great time. The community, the triathlon community is amazing. We've actually learned a lot through the triathlon community about putting on large scale events.
Yeah, I imagine.
They're doing a lot of really cool things. And I was like, oh, what if we did photos? I don't think there's any tournament that's selling photos of their fights. All they do is pay-per-view, live pay-per-view, and a video. And I was like, but the picture is really cool. You know, like the pictures are more timeless than a video.
100%. You can put it up on your wall. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I want the picture of me kicking somebody in the head on my wall, you know? And so we were like, I at my track, there's photographers that are at the track when you're training, you're doing the track day. And I just talked to him and I'm like, man, you're a really good photographer. Would you be able to get a team of photographers and shoot my tournament? And he was like, well, I never shot fighting before. So he came to my gym and practiced shooting sparring sessions and got really good with his team. And they're legit photographers.
They're good. Yeah.
And so they came to the tournament and they did a spectacular job. I was so happy because those are the pictures, like those are timeless, man. Like, you know, like you put them on your wall, you tell the story. No, you're gonna pull up, hey, you want to watch my, you know, like you just look at the picture and you tell the story, you know, and you know, you have pictures right behind you, you know.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah, you have all these things that you just have that are memories,
and you have those memories forever. Whether your phone breaks, you lose it on the cloud, it's right there behind you in physical form. So I think that's important for an athlete to have. That's like missing in a lot of tournaments. Is like they don't have photographers documenting these really cool things that you're accomplishing. Whether you win or lose, it's still really cool.
So for those that like to look at their competition and see what they're doing, you heard it here. you get it's a great idea, man. And I didn't know that's how you ended up implementing that was from these photographers that were at these like running in triathlons and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I was like, man, like, well, they sell it for a grip. It's like $300, $200 to get a video of you running across the finish line and a bunch of videos of you doing this.
Yeah.
and that's it, you know, but I wanted it because I'm like, how many people have finished an Ironman period? You know, not a lot.
No.
Not a lot. It's an extreme feat, 140-mile race on foot, right? So it's a really cool accomplishment that I have on my wall. That's like, you know, my picture of me running across the finish line. I'm very proud of that. Takes a lot of dedication and work that you don't know whether or not it's going to pan out or not.
Yeah, you go out, you prep as much as you can, and you go out there.
You know, and I hired a really good coach, Tim, and did it. So I've learned a lot through all of these other competitions on, you know, different things that athletes really like. And I like looking outside of the Muay Thai world to get ideas. If you kind of stay in that world, like it's kind of, everything's already been done. You know, you have to look outside of, you know, I've been an athlete in so many sports. Muay Thai is not the only sport. Started with Taekwondo, trained with the US team, the Olympic team for Taekwondo. Like I understand, you know, all of that and all of the politics involved and everything. And it actually turned me off to the sport. I stopped doing Taekwondo because of the politics. It got really nasty and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was good. I was a really good athlete. And you look at Olympics now for Taekwondo, it's almost unwatchable. And so I was like, okay, like I want to go into a different sport and try to do this sport. And I love Muay Thai because it was real, it was brutal.
Yeah, you can't. There's no lying. Like it's just I
used to get in trouble for going too hard. I used to knock kids out, and I would get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, geez.
Muay Thai, it's like that's the number one thing is damage.
Yeah. So it was really fun. It was really cool. But yeah, that was the main. That was what I started with, and you know, I always do cycling, like racing my motorcycle. One day, I'm actually gonna hopefully race an actual race on a motorcycle. I've always wanted to. I have a race bike. It's in my garage. I throw it around on the track all the time, but one of these days I'll be at a race. Even if I come in last, I just want to
do it.
See what it feels like. I want to do it.
Good.
But yeah, I would say, you know, I've learned a lot through all the sports that I've done, and so you actually see my bike is right up here.
Oh, there you go.
One of my race bikes, but yeah, it's actually Paul's old race bike I bought from him.
Oh no, okay. It's always good to get the hand-me-downs when it's already all set up, right?
already set up. Just
Yeah.
slapped up the wheels and I'm good to go. But that's the one I raced. That's the one I did Ironman with. But yeah, so I try to look outside the box to see different things that athletes might like and want and different experiences. So stay tuned for the next announcement. It's gonna be really cool,
man. Well, hey, you said it here. You're gonna announce it here. So
I said it, and
for those that are listening or watching, stay tuned because when this announcement's ready to drop, you better believe we're gonna get on. I don't care where I'm at. We're gonna do it. Okay. Kind of going in. For people that want to either contact the tournament, they want to get registered for the tournament, or they want to reach out to you, or maybe they're in the Phoenix metro area, and they want to come out and come train with you. What are the details?
Yeah, so my gym is in Chandler, Arizona. It's in the Phoenix area. And we do classes all the time. I always actually open up people that are just passing by. And if you're a fighter, you're an athlete, and you need a home, I don't charge for athletes. So if you have fights or you're training for a fight, you need a place to kind of come in and train. You have a home with us, home away from home. So anytime you need that. And then, so we're in Phoenix or the Phoenix area, Chandler. So not far out from Phoenix. And come visit us. It's called Sitan Gym and it's in Chandler. We've been the longest running Muay Thai gym in the state.
Awesome. Yeah. And then for the tournament, if people want to reach out about the tournament, they want to get registered for the US Open, how do they get the details? How do they register? And if they have questions, what's the best way to reach out to you guys?
You just go on our website. If you want to register, it's USMTOopen.com. You can see the tournament right out, click on the navigation bar and you'll see spring US Open. And you can register whether you're an amateur or pro. You can register. Just know that we're going to have a lot of really cool things for pros. I can't announce them yet because they're not really official. But we're going to try to do as much as we can for the pros. The only thing is we can't do is pay them a physical cash
prize. Yeah.
We're going to do as much as we can. As a matter of fact, every pro that registers, we're going to do a full bio on them and feature them on our website. That way, which pros are competing in our tournament.
That's pretty awesome.
Pros can kind of see I've always wanted to fight that guy, so they can register to fight him. You'll see. Stay tuned for the features on the pro athletes that are competing in our tournament.
Awesome, man. And then so USMuayThaiOpen.com. For those that want to follow Sitan Gym and they want to follow US Muay Thai Open, what's your guys' social media links if you got them?
Just US Open Muay Thai. It's US Open Muay Thai is our Instagram. The Sitan Gym AZ is our gym. If you want to follow our other gym in New York, Sitan Gym NY. If you want to train with Aziz, world-renowned coach, everybody knows this.
Yeah.
And if you want to follow Rami Ibrahim, he's on there too. So these are all close friends of mine that I grew up with. If you want to follow those guys, those are the people that are putting in the hard work.
Yeah.
With the community. So
awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. For anybody that's watching on Instagram, thank you for coming on today. If you're listening to this too, make sure I'm going to put all the links for everything we just dropped down the show notes too. If you want to get registered, go check it out. Highly recommend US Muay Thai Open. Been to tournaments across the world. It's definitely one of the most well-run tournaments. They also have some of the most handsome and good-looking ring officials in the world. Not me, okay? And also just, having this new pro division, I'm really excited for it. Thiago, thank you for reaching out. And I hope you have a good day.
Appreciate it.
If you guys are listening on iTunes, please go leave a review. It means the world to me if you enjoy the content, if you like hearing about all stuff that has to do with Muay Thai and what we're doing.